Hello and welcome to How to Make an Amazing Homemade Pizza with me. If you watched my last video, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then go watch it. In this video, we're gonna make a delicious homemade pizza. Set your ovens to 450. Let's get into it. So first you need a pan and some parchment paper. Not gonna lie, very surprised that I have some parchment paper because I don't usually have parchment paper. Then you're gonna drizzle some olive oil on your pan because we just obviously don't want a pizza that's stuck when it's done. So you need some flour to roll your dough on. I didn't realize that this was expired over a year ago. I don't know why I opened it and looked inside, but I saw something crawling, so that just, certified that I wasn't using that. But I did look on Google and see that you can use cornmeal. And apparently it gives your pizza a kind of crunchy taste. So we love crunch over here, okay? So we're definitely gonna use it. Make sure your hands are washed and the table is clean. And this is gonna be your station where you roll your dough. So something I like to do whenever I do anything is pretend that I'm a professional. So, I pretended like I was a professional pizza maker. I threw the dough up in the air and everything. It was a fail. I wouldn't recommend doing that, especially if this is your first time in a long time making a pizza. Just knead it and, let gravity help you make it bigger and bigger to the shape of whatever you want. It could be a heart, it could be a star. Go crazy. You're at home. It doesn't have to be the perfect circle. So let that bake for 7 minutes, and now we're gonna get into cutting your vegetables. Before anyone says anything about my cutting board, it's pretty old. It's clean though, okay? I know I need a new one. So now that that's over and out of the way, we're gonna cut up our vegetables. I always forget how to cut a pepper because I grew up cutting it one way, and then I learned an easier way when I was older. And so both ways are always conflicting every time I cut a pepper. But I'm happy I remembered this time. It just makes it so much easier this way because the seeds don't go everywhere, you know what I mean? So yeah, you're gonna cut your vegetables into whatever shape you prefer. Personally, for me, I want my green peppers diced as small as possible. So that's what I did. And red peppers into actual slices. Okay? Just because I think it looks professional. We're professional pizza makers. We're pretending to be. So that it turns out as good as possible, right? And I did that with my onions too. And now your pizza dough is pre-baked and ready for the fun part. This is the part that reminds you of your childhood. This is the part where you get to dress up your pizza like arts and crafts. So obviously, we're gonna start with some marinara sauce. Sprinkle that on there and spread it all around. I'm a crust girl, so I didn't spread it all the way to the edge. Some people don't like crust. To each their own, right? Tomato, After that, you're gonna sprinkle some cheese on there. I probably should have gotten vegan cheese because I'm lactose sensitive, but I didn't want to take away from my first homemade pizza experience, so I went with the real stuff. Next time I'll be getting vegan, but yeah. Now I am putting some pepperoni on my pizza, and you can put as much or as little as you want on there. And after that, I start loading up the vegetables. All the vegetables that we just perfectly cut as professionals onto this pizza. And there was one vegetable that I completely forgot to chop up. And it was a broccoli. So I just, cut them not too small, not too big, bite-sized, and added a little bit more cheese because I really wanted this to be an experience, like I said. And popped it in the oven at 500 degrees for 10 minutes. I'm a clean as I go type of cooker. there's not one thing that we're gonna throw away, because I just feel very wasteful when I throw food away, especially vegetables. They're so good for you. I feel like I'm like throwing my health away, you know. So I just like tidied up and kept everything for later use. Now that everything's tidied up, we're gonna get to my actual favorite part. This one makes me not only feel like a professional pizza maker, but a professional gardener. If you remember this plant from my last video, I got it from Trader Joe's because this is their basil. And so I'm actually snipping the leaves off of the plant. And it just makes me feel like as if I grew this plant from when it was a little seedling, and now I'm using it to nourish me. And it just felt so good, and it made me feel just amazing. So now I'm chopping it up because this is gonna be our garnish for when the pizza is done. Now for our final presentation. The pizza is done and we are garnishing it with basil, and everything just smells so good, and I feel like a real chef right now. I'm a little bit extra, you know. I like to just really feel like I'm like romanticizing every little bit of my life. So we're gonna throw some salt and pepper on there as if we were in the restaurant, you know? Romanticize your life. Make the experience cinematic. And now that it's cooled off a little bit, I'm gonna cut it into pieces. I'm just here trying to figure out how to cut it, and wishing that I had a pizza cutter. But little to my knowledge, I did have a pizza cutter. So I went through this pizza cutting with a knife agony for no reason, but it's okay. So I'm gonna cut my pizza into squares because that just makes the most sense, I feel like, to me. Now that everything's cut up, RJ's already taken his pieces, and now it is time to taste test this amazing professional homemade pizza. I'm so excited to finally try this. I had actually rambled off your ear in the last video about it, so let's get into it. It's nice to taste a pizza that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into. Actually, let's not use those words. Like, why is it that words? Let's use positive words. That you put your loving kindness, joy, and fun into, and positive vibes, and just knowing it's gonna taste like that in your mouth. And that's exactly what it tasted like. I absolutely loved it, and I hope you guys make it, and please let me know if you make this and how it turns out, and thank you so much for watching.